Okay, so in this problem here, we have all the angles in our radians. We got points A and B represented by these complex numbers on the complex plane. Given the origin is O, find angle AOB. Okay, and so this is point A, and this is point B. But I'm going to read through here. Then it says calculate ZW, stating answers in Euler's form with the arguments in terms of pi. So reading time makes me think about, oh, I'm going to convert these to Euler's form first to see what's going on. And then I'm going to calculate ZW squared after I have ZW with this argument, and then describe the two transformation that changes ZW to ZW squared. And then finally, if K is bigger than 0, given the real powers of this all lie on the circle, find K. So I know if these values are on a circle, I need these to have the same radius as it gets bigger. Okay, so let us start at the beginning here. So finding this scenario here. So the first thing I'm going to do, especially if I'm going to have to change it to Euler's form, is I want to get a picture of these numbers. So if I go Z is 2, negative 2i, that's here, this is Z. And then I have down here, this is point A as well. Then I have negative 1, negative root 3. So negative 1, negative root 3 is the B, which is W. And so I need to find these angles if I convert it into Euler's form. So looking at Z first of all, I know 2 and R for Z, for the Z, will be 2 squared plus a negative 2 squared square rooted, which I know then is going to be 2 root 2, 2 root 2. I do a bunch of it in my head. And more importantly, I know that tangent theta will be 2 over 2. Now, I know technically it's negative 2, but I'm going to do the negative in my head. So I know theta, this is equal to 1, and so this is pi by 4, which is the 45 degrees. I know it's down here, so that means it's going to be negative pi by 4 in term for Euler's number. But this angle is pi by 4, so that means this angle here is also pi by 4. Now, if I switch to W, R for W, I know it's going to be negative 1 squared plus negative root 3 squared, which is 2. And if I do tangent, I'll call this alpha. Again, I'm going to ignore the negatives. I'm going to do root 3 over 1. This is going to be alpha is pi by 3, which is 60 degrees. Okay, so that means this angle here is pi by 3, which is 60. So this is pi by 6, which is 30 degrees. This is 45 degrees. And so if I want to find angle AOB here, AOB is simply going to be pi by 6 plus pi by 4, which I know then is going to be, if I make this 12, it's going to be, I'm looking at my answers here, so 5 pi by 12 as my answers. So I know it's going to be 2 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12, which is 5 pi over 12. That's A part. Now B part, I'm almost done B part, right? I want me to put in Euler's form. Well, if I finish this off, I know that Z in Euler's form is going to be 2 root 2 e to the negative pi by 4 I, and W is going to be 2 e. Now I need this entire angle to here, so it's pi plus pi by 3, which that's going to be 4 pi by 3 I. So those are my values, and if it wants me to calculate ZW, So then ZW is going to be 2 root 2 e to the minus pi by 4I times 2e 4 pi over 3I. And so when I multiply them, I multiply those. So I get 4 root 2. And then I take these angles, just like regular exponents, and I add them together. Now if I add pi by 4 negative and 4 pi by 3, I end up with 13 pi over 12I. If you're not sure, negative 1/4 pi plus 4 pi by 3. This is 3 pi over 12 negative plus 16 pi over 12, which is then the 13 pi over 12I. Okay, so there's B part. Moving on now, and I put it in terms of pi. Then it says calculate ZW squared with this argument. Okay, so ZW squared is simply going to be 4 root 2 e to 13 pi over 12I times 4 root 2 e to 13 pi over 12I, which is 16 times 2 is 32 e, and then I'm going to go along and I'm going to add those two, and I get 26 pi over 12I, which I know then is 32e divided by 2, divide each by 2. Actually, 26 over, this is, I know that 24 pi over 12 is equal to 2 pi. And so this is really the same as 2 pi over 12I, which is 32e to the pi by 6I. And I had to do that simplification because I want the angle has to be between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so I have my answer here for the first part of C. The second part then says state the two transformations that changes ZW into ZW squared. Well, what happens here is this gets multiplied by that, which means the first thing that it is an enlargement by 4 root 2. And then I also know that it gets multiplied by this, which means it rotates this way here. So it is an anti-clockwise rotation of 13 pi by 12. And then finally, the last part says, find the k bigger than 0 when this calculation lies, all lie on a circle centered at O for all real powers. So what that means is when I take z divided by kw, well, z I know is this value here, 2 root 2 minus, so 2 root 2 e to the minus pi 4 pi by this. I have k, and w is this one here, 2e to the 4 pi by 3I. And what the question is saying is for all real powers, they all lie in a circle. I want to find the value of k, so that when I have different powers, so when I raise this to some real power here, that all the points that come out of here lie on a circle. In order for that to be true, I know the radius here has to be the same from the top and bottom so that they cancel out, so it's a radius of 1. And that way, If it's not 1, then it's going to be different lengths each time. So in order for this to be true, I know that k then has to be square root 2 over 2, square root 2, because then it cancels out. I hope that helps.